Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Customer Partnership Group CR Upgrade Project for this month. My name is Brenda Marquez on behalf of the ISO Stakeholder Affairs Group. We are welcoming a lot of new folks to this new WebEx platform that we'll be utilizing moving forward. We plan to utilize this platform in order to effectively record our calls and record attendance. Also, just a reminder, this call is being recorded. We plan to post that recording on our Customer Partnership Group website for those who are following us on the website for presentation materials and items that are related to this project. I do have a handful of panelists in my group that I'll be introducing in a minute. I do see Lisa Hopkins' hands raised, so we'll get to your question, Lisa. And if you'd like, we could also submit those questions in chat and we'll be able to answer them. As a reminder, we are having this structured meeting to stimulate different dialogue and discussion, especially for this topic. And we will be encouraging comments to be submitted both professionally and respectful. We'd also like to encourage, if there's any comments previously said, you may please refrain from repeating it so we can manage our time effectively. We also are working with few folks and stakeholders offline discussing different topics. So most of the topics we'll be able to finalize within this meeting to kind of reinforce what we're speaking with our customers and the different platforms we're utilizing for the notices going out for MarketSim. For this meeting, particularly, we're going to be utilizing the raise hand icon located above the participant and chat window. You'll click on that raise hand icon and you'll be added to the queue. Once you're added to the queue, Stacy is our event producer for this meeting and she'll be able to unmute you at your turn. This platform does not allow you to unmute yourself, so you'll have to be like a little bit patient with us as we mute you at your turn. And then if you do have logged in through the audio only, just your phone device, you will utilize *3. But as a reminder, all comments that are questions and added to this queue, please make sure to state your full name, affiliation, company name will be great so our speakers and presenters and attendees can know who's speaking. And also you can also send us chat. So we'll get to those questions soon. So for today's agenda, we plan to cover CR Upgrade Project Timeline Update with Paul. He is our project manager driving this process of the working group, the project of this Customer Partnership Group. And also we do have a few folks from the MarketSim team here to provide a few updates. I do have Martin, he's also our MarketSim coordinator, who's also doing those weekly calls. Those are on the ISO calendar. We have Dottie Vance, she's the customer service trainer who's been providing a lot of great updates through SendGrid. And then we do have Jeremy Malekos, our senior manager, who'll be joining us shortly. And also we do have Mike Turner, who's our director of market services, who's also here with us. We'll be adding him soon to this attendee list. At this time, I do want to do a quick audio check with Paul before I hand it over to him so we can kick off this call. But I did see that question from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. So just confirming my audio is not coming in clearly. Just want to check with the team. Stacy, would that confirmation of the audio, we want to make sure everyone's audio is connecting.
Hey, Brenda, this is Paul. How does my audio sound to you?
It sounds great to me. If anyone has anything, let us know in chat. We'll be monitoring that audio. Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. All right. Next slide, Stacy, please. So I think Brenda covered these event reminders. You can go to the next slide. And okay, yeah, this is the one. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining for our monthly call. You know, as you probably know, we've started our MarketSim last week with week 1, and now we're in week 2. Week 2 started a day later while we were getting some things finalized, and is extending into tomorrow. So that was a little bit of change from what we talked about last time, but just a small change. and thank you for your flexibility with that. And then next week is the third and last week of the structured market sim. So, one of the capabilities that introduces is secondary, as well as there's a lot more annual scenarios that are occurring in that third week. So we're basically, for the most part, sticking to plan from what we announced last month. So very excited to reach this milestone in the project. I know it's been a long time coming, and we've had a lot of delays along the way, but we're here, so we're really excited about that. Then there's going to be a break after those structured weeks. We'll be off for 1 week, and actually I don't have that shown here correctly, but it is shown correctly on the next on the later slide in this deck. But we are week 4 won't start immediately after week 3. There will be a week break. That's because the ISO is doing some annual or semi-annual server and OS and database patching. So then we'll come back on the 18th and do week 4, and then week 5 will be the March 25th, the end of March. So the total duration of market sim will now be 6 weeks for that. And again, that'll be more clearly shown when we get to a later slide that Martin, our market sim coordinator, will be walking you through. That's all I really had to announce. Are there any questions on the timeline? Okay, thank you. I think we can go to the next slide, Stacy, and Dottie will.
Paul, there's a question. Let's take Kevin. Please make sure to introduce yourself, Kevin, after you're unmuted.
Hey, Paul, thank you for briefly walk us through on the timeline. This is Kevin from PG&E. I'm just wondering for the refresher training that, the second item from the last, it's actually on 23rd for 1 day. Is it like, I'm just wondering what kind of format would that be in? Is it Kaizo's gonna consider to cover all the like UDC, CR holder and CLFC? Thank you.
Let me see if Dottie is prepared to answer that today. Dottie, did you have some thoughts on that?
Yes. Good morning and great question, Kevin. So I know with the refresher training, we are taking into account the questions we're getting from market simulation and the need that customers are kind of looking for that. So whether that be one training that covers like an overview of everything, or we could break it out to a couple of trainings like we did previously. If you have any feedback, please reach out to me. I'm still working through the creation of that, but what we're thinking is a webinar. But I'd love your feedback. And if anyone else has feedback on that, please let me know, because we want this to be for you guys to make sure you feel comfortable going into production.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Brenda, do you see any other hands up?
I don't see any other hands up at this time.
Okay, well, Stacy, next slide, please, and we'll go to Dottie, and she'll remind us about provisioning.
Hi, yeah, good morning. So we just wanted to keep these slides in here just as a reminder for map stage. Again, you'll see it here on the slide, and we wanted to make it available for you. And we also sent out notices recently to folks as a reminder for this action. If you have any questions, please reach out to us and we can help you with this access. If you could go to the next slide, please. And again here, just more information about that provisioning and that access for you to review. Next slide, please. Okay, I will pass it back. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dottie.
Okay,
appreciate it. And go ahead, Paul.
I was just saying, Martin, I believe, will be speaking to this slide. Go ahead, Martin.
Good morning, everyone. Martin from the ISO here. I'm the new Market Sim coordinator. I think this is a slide that many of you are very well aware of at this point, but we did want to present it today, in case there are new participants that are joining us that haven't been part of the market sim thus far. We are currently in week 2, day 3. So that's the February 27th there, that last day of week 2. So if you haven't been part of Market Sim so far, please feel free to reach out. Email me at marketsim@kaiso.com. That way we can plug you guys in, make sure you guys get up to speed. If you say missed week 1 or anything in week 2, we're going to revisit those same items and make the same windows and submissions available to you during week 4 and 5 during unstructured market sim, where it will be a free-for-all, where you can coordinate with us and we'll set up the times for the windows to open and close accordingly. Make sure you guys can complete all your testing. That way you guys are comfortable and ready to go to production cutover to the new application in April. That's that April 30th date there. And then there are some helpful links in here. So the market sim plan and scenario document has been updated. That's version 1.8. So if you click on that link there in the presentation, it'll take you directly there. And then the new CRR app UI link is also embedded into that second link there. And then if you need access to any of the templates on the developer site, that mock API link will take you there also. So this is kind of a general slide at this point, but if you guys do have any questions, we're here to work with you guys. We do thank you for your partnership, and we'll finish this together. I mean, it's been going pretty well so far, so fingers crossed we can finish everything well, just as well as we started. So thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you, Martin. Any questions, Brenda?
I don't have any questions, but I am checking to make sure that the links that we provided are working because the slide deck should be posted, but let me double check with the communications team to ensure that these slides get posted if they're not posted yet. Let me. Great, no questions. I think we're good to proceed to the next slide, Paul. If the team has anything else.
Yeah, so this just adds a little bit to those links that Martin was referring to on the previous slide. Refers to the thing additional on here is the external business requirement specification. And just where we keep stuff out on the kaiso.com site. So we can go to the next slide, Stacy. Actually, so let's back up a couple slides to Martin's slide. Yes, that one, thank you. Jeremy, did you have anything you wanted to add on the market sim?
Hey, Paul, this is, yeah. So going back to, Eureka said she had a note about provisioning. Did she, Eureka, did you want to provide that to the group or did you already? Maybe she's muted. Okay, well, if she has a note about provisioning, she can speak up. I would like to just thank everybody for participating and the hard work everyone's put in. I would just open it up to any questions, comments, any feedback so that we can make sure that we are getting the rest of this week done successfully. I know that the auction opened up this morning, so we're ready for next week. So any questions or comments or suggestions, definitely submit city tickets, but would love to hear about it here. That's all I have. I don't have any updates or anything, Paul. Thank you.
Okay, so didn't have much here today. Martin's covering more in his market sim calls in addition to this, but for this particular monthly one, didn't have a whole lot of new information here. But let's see, Brenda, do you have any hands showing now for questions?
Yeah, I do. I want to make sure, because Eureka was trying to get unmuted. Stacy, if you may add her to her queue in case she wants to add anything. I will give her a few seconds to unmute herself. Meanwhile, we wait for Eureka. We'll move on to the hands that we have raised. Kevin, we can start off with you. And as a reminder, please click on the raise hand and introduce yourself. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks. This is Kevin again from PG&E. I'm just wondering, I know that we have to submit production city tickets for the, to CAISO to state as if we are ready or not for the production cutover. I'm just wondering when we should start the production provisionings for the MUI, the new MUI. Thank you.
Dottie, is that something that you're familiar with, or Jeremy?
Yeah, Eureka can speak to when she gets unmuted, can speak to the actual provisioning. I can talk a little bit. I don't know if you have a slide deck on the dates or not, but we do have the cutover plan updated in online that we posted. And the plan is that, I know this doesn't directly answer your question, but the plan is that the MUI will open on the 30th of April. So that will be when things do get migrated over and you would start on the new system. And then things previous to that are on the old system, prior to that date, like the week prior, we are going to migrate all of that data into the new system. So, and then I'll let Eureka answer on the provisioning piece when she does get unmuted. Eureka, are you there?
Hello.
There we go.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Right on cue.
I had to figure out how to get unmuted. Sorry, what was the question? I got sidetracked. Getting unmuted.
The question's on provisioning for production. What are the steps for that, and when do they need to start looking at submitting anything if they need to, or just some explanation on how it's going to work?
Oh, okay. So same as the plan, same as what we did in map stage. Those who were provisioned in map stage before, we did a user migration from the old roles to the new roles. We would do the same for production, and we will communicate that when we are done with that exercise. We haven't done it as to date.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And actually, I wanted to also add a note on slide 7, if we can go back, please. Yeah, here. So as you see, there's 2 CRR holder roles available. There's one that has both read and write, and one that only has read access. If you already have read-write, you don't need to provision yourself with a read-only access. So it's a or. You would have read once you have read-write so you don't have to duplicate it on your AIM provisioning. I hope that's clear, because I've seen other users that have both. So you can just drop off the read if you have read-write by default. And that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, Brenda, do you see any more hands for today?
Yes, we do have another few hands. I believe, Kevin, we went to you already, but please submit a chat if you didn't. Chen Yu's next from PG&E. Let's go ahead and take her.
Thank you, Brenda. Good morning. This is Chen Yu from PG&E. I have two questions. One is the follow on Eureka's talking about provisioning. So you guys do have a cutover plan. If you can share, I mean, I don't know, it's just a document it's a formal document you want to share, but I would like, because I do recall there was quite a few bumps when we first get into the map stage portal for the MUI. And because Kaiso's so on top of it, like we can just directly reach out to you guys and you get that taken care of. I just don't know if this is going to be happening in production and whether that's going to be a fast escalation path if we run into that issue. I think that's my first question.
Well,
I can start.
Go ahead, Paul. You can start,
yeah,
and then
so,
why don't you start, and then I'll finish.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeremy. So part of the bumpiness with map stage, and as you're probably continuing to see a little bit of that, is because each week we're at the end of that week's market sim, we're shutting things down, and then we're opening things back up again for the start of the next week when the next week is ready to start, while we're doing some patching and some updates in between there. We're not anticipating that to happen with plant. Once we turn on prod, it's up, staying not up, it's not going down and up. So that's one difference there that hopefully will make that experience a little smoother. Jeremy, please add to that.
Yeah, I'll just talk about moving forward with the cutover to production. So we have, and recognize that, yeah, we do have issues in bumpiness and map stage. It's kind of like the nature of that environment. So thank you for your patience there. On the production, we posted a cutover plan. It is an updated calendar. So you would see our normal cutover steps that we have, like if you're submitting load migration or you're submitting historical load data, those windows show whether they're on the old system or the new system, and then you'll see some of the date shifts in that end of April timeframe on the calendar doing the cutover. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my camera off. It doesn't seem to be working. So that is posted, and we will eventually, as we get a little bit closer, share with you like a cutover of like databases and things like that, a little bit more detail into like when those things are going to happen. But the events that you'll want to pay attention to are in that cutover document, the calendar update that we posted. As to when we do cut over, we are looking at, my team is looking at supporting those windows like we normally do. So we will be monitoring production when we do cut over. So the day that the MUI opens, we're going to be monitoring that with the team. And so if we see any issues, we'll be able to address them. And then if people experience any issues, they'll be able to call in right away to a call, like a call center where my team is going to be able to support in like real time. So our plan is to actually have an active cutover environment here at the CAISO. So I don't know if you've participated in any of our large project cutovers where we spin up different groups. It'll be smaller because we won't have the entire company spun up as we have in the past, but we will have people available like working together in a room while the window for like the allocation, submitting the load submission windows, and then especially the auction, when the auction opens up and we have an auction portfolio that everybody is updating, our teams will be like available during that window to mitigate any issues. So that's kind of our plan, Chenyu. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very, very helpful. Definitely give us more certainty moving to the production. Thank you. And my second question for you, Jeremy, I know in the beginning of the project, we talk about after this one, there will be a second phase. I just want to get a idea whether this phase going to be in this year or maybe next year, or uh, uh, if you have a plan to share for now. But if not, we can.
Yeah,
I can
so we
follow up
do.
later. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you, Jane. We do have some phase 2 items, and those will begin shortly after production of a go live of phase 1. It does extend a majority of the scope. The goal is to have the majority of that scope deployed between now and the end of the year. And I think some of it will roll into next year. So we do have a roadmap that we're working on. We've almost secured all of that with the vendor. There's other projects that are impacting CRRs that are coming, different initiatives. So that will be part of that roadmap too. So that may push out some of the phase 2 stuff. But we do have that roadmap. We will present that to this team. I think for clarification, if you aren't aware of what's in the phase 2 scope, the phase 2 scope is the automation of several scope items that my team or the vendor or the internal IT team here will be doing manually until that, manually meaning offline with scripts or before the system itself automates. A couple quick examples, and the first scope item that we're looking at getting delivered for phase 2 is our break-even calculation that we use. That is being done offline, and we are that won't be automated. It's a tool for my team to look at stuff that won't be automated until that scope gets done. So the team will do it offline. Likewise, there's several like reports that get published. Those will be published to Oasis. Currently, once we go live, that'll be phase 2 published to Oasis. Once we go live in phase 1, my team is going to be doing those manually, and we'll be either emailing them or sending them out to the normal locations that you have now. Does that help and clarify?
Yeah,
That's probably more than
very much. Yeah. Yeah, sounds like
Okay.
it's more from end user standpoint. We probably don't see a big difference, mostly for menu to automation. That's for your team. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of it's back-end calculation, bringing new customers on. We'd have to do that manually through the database. If you're all ballsy, so the single all ballsy participant, they will continue to do things manually, and then phase 2, it gets, that gets moved into the system and is automated. So yeah, the big
Great.
lift, and so we had to kind of break it into, what we needed for go live and what we could do workarounds with.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Paul. Very helpful.
Thank you.
Next, we do have Daniel. Daniel, you'll be unmuted in a moment. Please be sure to introduce yourself.
Yes, this is Daniel Kurtz with California Department of Water Resources. If you could go to the slide showing the weeks, if I understood right, next week we're not gonna do. Is not planned to do. It was moved 1 week more, which is not showing this one in this slide. Or I misunderstood what you guys understood what you guys said. So week 3 that's listed there for 0304. It's moved to week 4, and in that week we're gonna do the annual process and the SRS. This week we continue with until Friday with the tier 2 of the monthly, and the week 3 is open for us, so we're not being able to do anything else than what we did in the past or something like that. Could you clarify, please?
I can speak to that. This is Paul Milrad. So what is shown here is correct, although and we are in week 2. Although this didn't start the 25th, we started a day later on there, and it's running into Friday the 28th. But next week is, as you said, next week is week 3, and like you said, it's going to have annual, it's going to have secondary, and so that'll be the last week of the structured market sim. Then there will be a week off for the week of March 10th through the 14th, where map stage will not be available. Then the week after that is what we're calling the start of the unstructured market sim on Tuesday, March 18th. That's what we're calling week 4, even though there's a gap week in there between week 3 and week 4. And so we have unstructured for week 4 and unstructured for week 5, with it ending on Thursday, March 27th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
All right, so Station use hand, just want to double check if she has a follow-up question. But at this time, just a reminder that this call is being recorded. So we'll make sure to provide that link when it's posted. I don't see any other questions, Paul, Jeremy, at this time.
Yeah, just Brenda, I'll update the project manager slide. So instead of showing last month's dates, it'll reflect this one. So there's not that inconsistency there. And then if you can post that out, that would be, or we'll get that posted out when we do the presentation update. But if there's no further questions, thanks everyone for joining. One last call. Brenda, do you see anything?
I don't see any questions. I know a few folks were able to join us a little late. We did transition from the previous WebEx we utilized for a few years. So this WebEx will be, every WebEx will be unique to the meeting. So I invite you to look at the notice and the ISO calendar for the most up-to-date WebEx information to log in. We do have these slides posted already. You'll be able to open that slide deck and view the presentation material posted. And if when we do a repost, that'll replace the existing slide. But if you want to have a head start, you can look at this slide and we'll have the new slide deck reposted with the same link. So if you were to go visit or bookmark it. But yeah, we thank you everyone. We did get a lot of attendees. As a reminder, we do want to go to the next slide if you can, Stacy, for us. Slide 9, 10 actually. Let's do slide 10. Sorry, 11. We have some few reminders. We have tentatively scheduled this meeting for the 20th. The notice will go out hopefully a few weeks before. This meeting may happen in the late afternoon of the 20th. We do have a market performance and planning forum being held in the morning. So that will have a little bit more content that we're covering for different topics. And so we want to make sure we have folks not conflict for those two meetings like this one. But if there's a question that if anyone has like a concern on conflicts on particular meeting for this meeting, next month, let us know so we can kind of work on a different date. But we're targeting the 20th in the late afternoon, where it's a good spot without that doesn't conflict the other meetings for Market Sim as well. And also, we do have a general questions for market simulation that marketsim@kaiso.com that Martin provided, and then Dottie, she also has her email out for the customer readiness at kaiso.com if you have a question on that. So for study tickets, I know we provided earlier with how to submit one. We definitely want to encourage you to submit them if they need it, but definitely check first with us, and then we can track those city tickets. But at this point, I think our team has provided follow-ups on most of those. And then that CRCPG page is all up to date for now. And we do have calendar holds for all the CRCPGs for the end of throughout the end of the year, but they won't have the WebEx until that's finalized with the notice. So we just want to make sure if you can forward that message to your team to check that ISO notice or the calendar for that WebEx to join this call. And at this time, I do see anything. I did see a question from Shanyu. So Shanyu asked about she's not able to see the cutover plan, and I do have my team who did provide to me offline, And I do remember posting that cutover plan with the 2025 monthly calendar and the 2026 annual allocation auction calendar. It's also on the CRCPG page, so that will be later under the settlements, but I'll wait and see. Jeremy, do you know the exact location of that plan, just in case?
No, I'm not a fan.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So Shenyi, we do have something posted, but not the exact cutover plan. It's more like the calendar of the auction 2025, 2026. So I'll send you a private message on that one link, just in case.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Hearing no questions, thank you so much for joining. And I think at this point, the last slide, just if you can't, Stacy, slide 12, we just have the Energy Blog Matters that we post every month or so. So the latest one is for the ISO, expanding the training and emergency operations facility at the ISO. So that's a great blog in terms of what we have built into the infrastructure of the buildings for our operators. So Tricia Johnson shares a few items on that. But thanks so much for everyone for joining, and take care. And we can go ahead and close this call.